Hi everybody. Right, I'm a little tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been out on this huge walk, but I'm bored and I thought I'd just riff and go off and stuff. I don't think this video has got any particular direction, but I think there's a few things I'd like to say and a few misconceptions that I'd like to sort of clear up, if that's okay with you. Now, what I've been doing a lot lately is stress control, because I think stress can greatly affect OCD in general, HOCD as well. And I think, for example, the other night I did a 14-mile walk with a rucksack and weights in the rucksack. Not too much weight, but enough so that I could feel it. And off I went. And when I come back from the walk, I just felt awesome. And my symptoms of OCD, which are almost gone anyway at this point, but they decreased even further. And it led me to remember a time, and this happened about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when I was doing a lot of meditation. And one day I meditated, and I meditated, and I meditated. Then I went up to my sister's place and she got one of these running machines. And I ran and ran and ran on this running machine. And then I had a hot shower. She had one of these big fancy hot shower, these big showers, you know. And I had the shower. I come out of the shower, and this clarity just come over me like nothing I'd ever experienced before. And it was like how I thought as a child. Do you know how clear your mind is when you're a child? My mind just becomes so clear. It was like as if I'd been on a Buddhist retreat and I'd meditated for a week. So I think stress, which can be propped up through perfectionism, stress can greatly affect OCD and HOCD, which, you know, is the same thing really. So what's my advice, especially after coming back from a nice walk tonight? Get some exercise. Go out there, do some hiking, do some walking, do some cycling, go to the gym, because the benefits of exercise are, you know, unlimited almost. It's good for you in almost every way. But anyway, now I've got that out of the way, I just wanted to clear up a little misconception. In my original video, which is entitled HOCD Help, I must say, I speak about a buddy of mine who he sort of jerked off to literally go against his fear of uncertainty. And, you know, it was his way of exposing himself to the fear. And a lot of people hear that part, but they often don't hear the other things that I say. You don't necessarily have to jerk off. The HOCD exercise takes place in the imagination. So the whole exercise is done with the mind. You don't literally have to pull your dick out and jerk off. Although, if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. And having received an email from somebody the other day, I just wanted to clarify that. Okay? So I'm just going to riff off and talk about what I want to talk about. And if you want to stick around and listen to me, you know, that would be good. That would be nice. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's silent. It's quiet. It's just us. So anyway, somebody said to me as well Jesse, why do you keep going on about the law of reversed effect? Why do you keep talking about the law of reversed effect? Well, mainly because the law of reversed effect, or the law of reversed effort, which is also called, states that the harder you push against something, the more you're just setting yourself up for the opposite to come true. Okay? Okay, so why am I saying this? Because the more that you try to push your thoughts away, the more that you try to suppress anything, not just OCD, it can be depression, it can be, try not to think of a pink elephant. And the harder you try not to think of a pink elephant, the more you'll think of it. The harder you try to push yourself to sleep, the more you'll stay awake. You know, and people suppress their feelings. Now, women are not quite as bad, because women will feel their feelings more. They're more in touch with their own feelings. Guys, being macho, we're not allowed to feel anything and so forth. They're the ones, but not always, most likely to push the feelings down. And when you push feelings down, all you're doing is storing them somewhere else. It's almost like going to the fridge, pulling out an apple or pulling out whatever, eating half of it and then putting it back until it rots in your fridge. So guys and HOCDers in general suppress their feelings, but what it does, the law of reversed effect, pushes the feelings back. So the harder you push something down, the more it'll come back. And I want to give you a couple of examples. And this is very interesting. I don't know if it was in Emile Coue's or Emile Coue, whichever way you pronounce it, his book, or whether I read it somewhere else. But check this out. The will versus the imagination. Let me repeat that. The will versus the imagination. The will can never beat the imagination. Ever. Right? The law of reversed effect. It cannot beat the imagination. The conscious mind cannot beat the unconscious mind through willpower. If you push a feeling down with your willpower, your imagination will push it back. Now, if you had a plank of wood, listen to this very carefully. If you had a plank of wood and you put that plank of wood on the floor, you could quite easily jump on that plank of wood and walk across it without falling. Am I right? Yeah. So, you put that plank of wood between two skyscrapers and then try walking across it. And your imagination, your subconscious, will fill you with so much terror and so much fear that it doesn't matter how much willpower you got, your body will freeze and you will not be able to bring yourself to walk across that plank. So your imagination is filling you full of fear, and your willpower, no matter how much you try, will not push you across that plank. The willpower cannot beat the imagination. So, the more you suppress or try to, the more it'll come back. There was another little story I remember concerning the law of reversed effect by a guy called Stephen Brooks. A brilliant hypnotherapist, very, very respected man, person, Buddhist, and a therapist. And he's a guy I've got nothing but respect for. I think it was him that told a story one day about being in a cafe with someone, possibly a patient or a client or whatever. And I think they had a couple of cups of coffee or something. and this person wouldn't take a sip of their coffee, right? And Stephen Brooks says, well, why wouldn't you take a sip of your coffee? And he or she said, because I'm afraid that I might spill it and look foolish in front of everyone. So he got his cup of coffee and he went, what, like this? And he deliberately spilled it. Did you see what he did there? He went with the fear. He didn't go against it. He went with it. See, people are afraid of looking bad. But one of the secrets to confidence is your willingness to look bad. Okay? One of the secrets to getting anywhere is your willingness to accept your own limitations and to accept your feelings. Accept, accept, accept. Right, what else have I got here? Another thing that sets up a lot of stress and that sets up anxiety and OCD is perfectionism. Now, very important, if you actually listen to your thoughts, what are they full of? Should and shouldn'ts. Should, shouldn't. Should, shouldn't. I should be able to do this. I should be able to do this. I shouldn't be doing that. Should, fucking should. That's all what we think of. Now, as, oh God, what was his name? His name has slipped my mind. He'll come to me in a second. A famous hypnotherapist turned around and said, you know, people who who specialize in shoulds and shouldn'ts are basically rigid thinkers. And he said, people come to me because their thoughts are rigid. Milton Erickson, that's the one. So the more shoulds and shouldn'ts you have in your thinking, the more perfectionist it is. What's at the root of OCD? Perfectionism. So you need to weed out the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, and you can do that through cognitive behavioral therapy. So see, what did I write down the other day? I saw this on the internet. One major problem with demand thinking, and that's what should and should isn't. One major problem with demand thinking is that it creates a great deal of unnecessary stress. And then stress feeds the OCD. And then the OCD feeds the fucking stress. And round it goes in this insane hamster's wheel. So, and what's good for stress? What did I say earlier? Exercise. Apart from cognitive behavioral therapy and analysing the shoulds and the shouldn'ts and analysing, why do I have to be so perfect? Why do I have to be so perfect? And that's the thing with OCD. It's a control freak. It wants to arrange everything in order. You know, it's like one of those people that you see when you go to events and they try to boss everyone around and, arrange everything. OCD is a control freak. A question I get asked sometimes as well is, what if this isn't OCD? What if I am gay? Well, first of all, I think if you were gay, you probably would have known it a lot sooner. And I think, if you are gay, so fucking what? So what? I mean, if you're not gay in this century, you're no fucker anyway. I don't mean that literally. I was just saying that with a, half jokingly. But what I'm saying is that, how many people in 10 people are gay? It's such a normal thing these days. It's not even a big deal. But I think if you're that worried and you're that, concerned about it. I think it's more a case of HOCD. And it's like I've said in other videos, you know, if you ruminate a lot, if you think in very black and white terms, if you have this demand thinking, should, shouldn't, all or nothing, black or white, I think it's a high chance it's OCD. You know, OCD that is fixated on your weakness, because that's what OCD does. It's like one of those fucking Cylons from Battlestar Galactica, OCD. You know, with the eye, it'll analyze for weakness, and it'll analyze, and it'll think, we'll pick on that. Sexuality, or we'll pick on cleaning, or we'll pick on superstition, or whatever it is your weakness is. OCD will track it down like, you know, one of those rangers from Lord of the Rings or something. You know, it'll track it down and it'll go to work on it. Which is why sometimes when people get rid of particular obsessions, sometimes a different obsession will arise. Sometimes, you know, like that game where you get the different holes and the rabbit pops out of the hole and you bonk him on the head, and you successfully bonk him on the head, and then he'll pop his head out of another hole. You know, the obsession just finds different ways of trying to surface. Right, I wanted to say something here. I received a message, okay, from some guy. And no disrespect, you know, the man just wants to be helped. But he did irritate the heck out of me. And I'll tell you why in a second. He contacts me and he says to me, okay, what's the, because he was getting all mathematical and stuff. What's the chances of me, what's the percentage chance of me if I do the exposure of it working? Oh, dear God. I said, look, mate, everyone's different. Yeah, but mathematically, what's the chances of, and he irritated the heck out of me. He really did. I felt like picking up my laptop and throwing it, because he was doing the one thing that, see, when you do the exposure, you're confronting uncertainty. Do you see what he was doing? By wanted to know mathematically what percentage chance did he have. He was being pedantic. And he was looking for certainty. He was looking for certainty before he challenged his uncertainty. Which is crazy, which is ridiculous. But obviously he didn't really know any better. But I could tell right away by his thinking how rigid he was. How he'd set up all this certainty, should, shouldn'ts, and all the other crap in his mind, which had led to just a neurosis. And God bless the man, you know, I hope that he's doing well, and I hope that he's all right. But he was looking for certainty to face uncertainty. The thing about the exposure is it's all about facing your fears. It's all about facing the uncertainty and surviving it. You know, it's like, say you were getting bullied at school or getting bullied at work, and you just had enough. And you're sitting home and you're thinking, oh God, I got to go to work soon. I got to go to work and the bully's going to be there. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? If you wait to be confident, then you'll be waiting forever. Sometimes you have to have the willingness to look bad and face the bully. And if you lose, you lose. But at least you tried. At least you had the courage. And courage is a more respectable thing actually than confidence. Do you see where I'm going with this? If you wait to be confident before facing the bully, you'll never face him. You'll never face him because you're waiting for perfectionism. You're waiting to be confident. Sometimes you just got to say to heck with it and go in there. Facing uncertainty is one of the most courageous things you can do. But obviously, don't go doing anything stupid. Don't dive off a plateau or something ridiculous. I mean, that's just stupid uncertainty. I'm talking about, sensible things, everyday things, and dealing with obsessive compulsive disorder. So, facing uncertainty is really what it's all about. And the strange thing is people think, oh, well, if I do it and I start to feel arousal, maybe I'll turn gay. But the irony is, the more arousal you feel and the more you overcome it through facing the uncertainty, is the more chance you'll actually be reverted back to normal. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting. Just take the bull by the horns and face your fucking fear. And the sooner you do it, the sooner it'll go away. If you were trapped, right, in an alleyway, and there were, let's say you were trapped in an alleyway, and you were cornered by a mugger or something, and you look around, and there's nowhere else you can go. Now you can wait to feel confident before you fight your way out, but by that time, it'll be all over. So what's the option you have? Fight your way out. So you fight your way out, because it's the only way to go. Same with HOCD. Same with OCD. You can wait and wait and wait, but your OCD isn't going anywhere until you do the exposure and face uncertainty. And you don't do it through force, through willpower. You do it through gently confronting what you're afraid of. What you're afraid of. Right, okay. Is HOCD homophobia? Personally, I think yes and no. I think it's homophobia in a sense of you don't want to be gay. Okay? But really, it's more to do with identity. It's more to do with identity. When I was 10 years old, I found out that my father wasn't really my father. And I found out that somebody else was my dad. And all my sisters, I'm the youngest of 8 children, or was. I'm the youngest of 7 now, as my brother have passed on. But I was the youngest of 8 children, and I found out that they were my half-siblings, because we had the same mother, different father. It didn't matter. They were always my sisters and my brother, But when I found out that I had a different father and he had a family, I lost my identity. And I struggled for years to get my identity back. And I think it had more of an effect on me than I realised. So when somebody is worried, is this homophobia? In a way it is, but really it's not, because it's just, you're afraid that your identity is lost. But you get gay people who don't want to be straight. What, are they anti-straight? No, it's just they don't want to lose their identity. So, okay, I got a question here. What's at the root of HOCD? Well, it's like I've already said, uncertainty and perfectionism. Shoulds, shouldn'ts, non-flexible thinking, and I think perhaps chemistry in the brain. Done the Planck story, done the Stephen Brooks story. Yeah. So basically, I just wanted to recap before I sign off, because this isn't really a proper video. This is just a midnight, what I call a midnight riff. It's just me talking. I think that the HOCD help video, exposure and response prevention, all the rest of it, you don't literally have to take your cock out and start jerking off. Excuse me for being, rude, but it could all be done in the imagination. To gently confront your imagination. I'll tell you something. Do you know meditation, especially Zen meditation? Do you know they empty their minds, okay? And during meditation, thoughts come up. And it could be thoughts about what happened to their dog when they were 6 years old. It could be something else. Somebody disrespected them in a shopping mall. It could be anything. But when those feelings come up, they feel the feelings that go with them. Okay? They remember for some reason that the dog pops into their mind that they had when they were 6, and they feel the grief. But in meditation, just like exposure, they sit with the grief. They allow it to play itself out and play itself out and play itself out until it dissipates. Till it dissipates and gets less and less. So anyway, I'm rambling on, and I'm gonna chill. I've had a hard day, and I'm gonna chill. But I'll try and come back with a more directional video pretty soon. So take care, guys. Thanks for listening to me riff, and I will catch you soon. Bye.